What's up, you guys? I'm Dan. This is Frugal Not Cheap. Today we'll talk about a new software update from Tesla that brought some great undocumented changes. So we recently got version 2023.32.7, and as you can see here, the release notes, all they say is that this release includes the most recent update for your vehicle and region. So not very specific, but happy to report that actually it came with a lot of great improvements, or at least a couple. So the first undocumented change is one that I'm really pleased about, but it's really not something that I can really show you because you'd only be able to experience it in the car with me, and that is that the music has continued to improve. So Tesla recently put out a video on their at least it came out on x.com. I think they probably have it on YouTube as well. But I'll put a link to that in the description so you can check it out. Just a little bit of showing off what the audio engineers have been doing in order to create a great music experience for Teslas. And so, kind of backtrack, when I first got my car, the sound was not all that great. I have the base audio system in my 2017 Tesla Model S. And coming from my 2010 Acura TSX that had a 10-speaker Elliott Schneider surround system that was really good, I was a bit disappointed in that. However, over time, they have made some drastic improvements in the quality of the sound. What happened initially is most of the sound was only in the front and the rear speakers weren't being used very well. And the balance was just off. The sound felt not full at all. It kind of felt like all the sound was focused here in the middle of the cabin. And so you couldn't, I don't know, just it wasn't a good experience. And so over time, they've been fixing that, where the sound is now much fuller. It seems to be coming from all around you and it feels much more focused on you. In updates over the past year or so, we've seen further improvement of use of the rear speakers. This latest one, I definitely noticed a marked increase in the use of the rear two speakers here on the doors for both of the rear passengers. And then the other sort of vector of improvement that I've really noticed is in terms of the separation. So what I mean by that is that you can hear individual instruments or sounds very clearly, and that they're now spaced out so that they're coming from either just one speaker or a mix of a couple speakers, so that they seem to be coming from different directions. So I'll hear vocals over here, I'll hear a lot of the percussion kind of right here in the middle. On the right hand side, I'll hear something else, maybe violin, and in the rear, I'll hear the piano. So or echoes. Whenever there's an echo or backup vocals, they tend to come from the rear. Sort of hard to explain if you haven't experienced sort of the surround sound or immersive sound type of experience in a vehicle with good quality. You won't know, but it's really cool, and I'm a big fan of it. So continued improvements in that, also in clarity. I mentioned in a recent video that the highs used to be a bit shrill, and now they sound a lot more natural and clearer. That continues to be improved here in this latest update, and I'm just really happy with the sound system now, to the point where actually it sounds better in this car now than it did in my old car. And I never thought that could happen just with software, because the speakers haven't changed. It still only has one speaker in the front up there, and then the 4-door speakers, as far as I'm aware. The people that have the premium audio, they get a subwoofer and all this other stuff, but that's what I've got in my car, and it sounds amazing. One more thing, and I don't know if this is just my eyes or what's going on. I could swear also that the album art here, the quality has improved and that they're sharper than they were before. Now I'm playing off of USB, and definitely I've noticed that playing off of Bluetooth, the album art quality is much lower. There are a lot of reasons why I don't play music off of Bluetooth, but this is one of them. Here you can see how much worse the album art quality is on Bluetooth compared to USB. And then of course the sound quality is just much worse. It's not clear. It sounds muddy, and separation's much worse as well. This is using, I think, Bluetooth 4.0. The next undocumented change that we got in this update is really cool, and it is an update to the processing of the cameras, the repeater cameras, and I think maybe even the rear camera as well. So here we can see what the new version looks like. And basically, I'll try to find some images. I'll show you a couple of images here of before and after in a different location. But what we're seeing here is much more vivid colors, much more accurate colors in the repeater cameras. And I think the rear camera might look a little bit better as well. In some models, I know that they cut off more of the bumper in the rear camera, but I think in mine it's always been pretty good, and I haven't really noticed any difference there. But anyway, especially with these two repeaters though, I'm pretty amazed at how they were able to correct the colors to make them look, well, the way that the colors actually look in real life. And it may be also that they're a little bit clearer, although, because on the portrait screen, that I have, those views are really small. It's really hard to tell, but I do think that it's possible that the clarity has improved in these views from before, and all just done through software. So that's really, really cool. All right, so the next thing I'd like to show you is FSD beta. Generally, I think I'm a mostly optimistic guy and fairly positive. And of course, in the last video, I was showing you the things that FSD beta was not doing well. And so, I wouldn't want to leave things on a completely negative note. And so I'd like to take a look at some positive stuff here. What I wanted to hopefully show you here is the way that it handles unprotected left turns. So this is a very similar situation to the Chuck Cook unprotected left turn. And it may be a little bit hard to see here. I'm going to try to adjust the balance a little bit here for a moment. So you can see that we got a creep wall, and then we have the median in there. And you can see all the cars that it's paying attention to. So hopefully it's going to creep out into the median at some point, and then we'll be able to complete the turn. So here's this car that's coming towards us. So we kind of crept out to him, but still had room. And here we go into the median. And in this case, we proceeded all the way through, and we stayed in our left lane. So I would say that was a highly successful, unprotected left turn. I've also seen it where it stops in the median, waits for traffic. Last time I had another car that was coming into the median and was going to take a left, and so we pulled it up ahead of him, and he had plenty of room to complete his maneuver. So that was really, really cool, and I think, hopefully you didn't get the impression from my last video that FSD beta isn't great, because I use it really every single time that I get in the car, and it makes the driving experience much, much better. And also I noticed, especially yesterday, that the behavior of the system was really, really good. I went on this long drive to go meet a friend at a restaurant, and every now and then you just see these flashes of brilliance where the whole trip was just incredibly relaxing. It did everything, requiring no interventions that weren't based on preference. Like at one point I just didn't like the route that was plugged into the nav, so I took a turn in order to force the nav to change to a different route and avoid a street that I hate. But other than that, the whole drive was done by FSD, and it was done really, really well. I also have it now in the assertive setting. I think to some degree what was going on is when I first switched to assertive, because the behavior is a little bit different, I was a little bit nervous or anxious about it and not used to it. Now that I'm used to the way that it drives on assertive, I really like it. So I'm quite happy with it. In general, it's really, really nice and smooth. I don't know if anything changed. It is also possible that there were some minor tweaks to the weights in the neural network with this update that I got. Even though we're still on FSD beta version 11.4.4, it is entirely possible that it had some minor updates that have also improved the performance. But either way, guys, I am really, really happy with this latest update that we got from Tesla. Very cool changes that have happened. So I'm just on my way home now, because I was only doing that drive to show you the UPL. But I did want to mention, and I noticed this on this drive right now on my way home as well, that it's also become more confident in taking the right turns. Whereas before I would kind of stutter, and it was really uncomfortable when I had a car behind me, because, well, they expect you to drive smoothly, and so if you slow down during the middle of a maneuver like a right turn, then they might end up rear-ending you. Well, I don't know if anything changed, but in terms of the software, but certainly I'm seeing a difference in behavior where those turns are smoother. It does not take the right turns as aggressively as I would have. I think that's because it has a lot lower tolerances for jerk that are allowed, but in the software, you know. But anyway, I'm happy that it's taking those turns more smoothly, and I feel more comfortable that I'm not going to get rear-ended when that's happening. So that's been good. Oh, this is going to be really interesting. As you can see here in this traffic pattern, there's that little sort of, I don't know, gap in the median there where we're supposed to cross, so that we can make this left turn. And I've never done this before, so we should have a light though, so it should be relatively easy. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So here's the light. We don't have any cross traffic. We do have a car over there, but looks like, oh, all clear. All right, wow, that was nice and smooth. Look at that. And then moving over into this lane real quick. Man, I'm happy with that. That was good performance. And here in a minute, I'll be able to let you see that right turn, and hopefully it will be nice and smooth. We'll see, it's pretty sharp, so it's a little bit of a different scenario. Also pulling into residential. There we go, nice and smooth. No stutters, no slowdown whatsoever. So there you have it, guys. Some great improvements that came with Tesla's software update 2023.32.7. Still got my fingers crossed for FSD beta version 12 to come sometime. Doesn't look very likely that I'm going to get 11.4.7, but that's okay. You know, I'm really happy with 11.4.4. Maybe we'll get a surprise, who knows? But either way, really looking forward to the future and to continued software updates, including the holiday update. Hopefully we get a sweet holiday update this year. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.